The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution is not a suggestion. It is not a relic of the 18th century or a privilege granted by government. It is a fundamental, individual right, explicitly designed to secure a free people against both foreign threats and domestic tyranny. At its core stands the AR-15, the most popular rifle in America, owned by millions of law-abiding citizens for sport, hunting, self-defense, and yes, as the modern embodiment of the well-regulated militia the founders envisioned. Any attempt to ban, restrict, or infringe upon the AR-15 is not merely bad policy. It is a direct assault on the Constitution itself. The Second Amendment must be preserved at all costs, because once it falls, every other liberty follows. The historical record is unambiguous. When James Madison drafted the Bill of Rights, the memory of British attempts to disarm the colonial population was fresh. The Second Amendment was written precisely to ensure that the people, not just the National Guard or the military, retained the means to resist tyranny. The Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed this individual right. In District of Columbia versus Heller, 2008, the court held that the amendment protects the right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms for self-defense, independent of militia service. McDonald versus Chicago, 2010, extended this protection against state infringement. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, 2022, made clear that gun regulations must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition, meaning subjective public safety. Claims cannot override constitutional text and history. The AR-15, a semi-automatic rifle chambered most commonly in 5.56 mm, falls squarely within the category of arms protected by these rulings. It is not a machine gun. It fires one round per trigger pull, just like any other semi-automatic firearm. Labeling it an assault weapon is a political marketing term, not a technical one. Today, the AR-15 is America's rifle. Estimates place civilian ownership between 20 and 30 million units, with hundreds of thousands sold every year. It is lightweight, modular, accurate, and reliable qualities that make it ideal for home defense, competitive shooting, varmint control, and big game hunting in states that allow it. In rural and suburban America, it is as common as a pickup truck. Criminals overwhelmingly prefer handguns for violent crime. FBI data consistently show that rifles of all types, including the AR-15, account for a tiny fraction of homicides, often under 3% in any given year. The vast majority of gun-related deaths are suicides, not homicides, and not mass shootings. Banning the AR-15 would do nothing to address the root causes of violence, gang culture, fatherless homes, mental illness, and the failure to prosecute criminals while disarming the very people who use these rifles responsibly. The argument that no one needs an AR-15 collapses under scrutiny. The same logic could be applied to any firearm, then to any tool that could be misused. The right to bear arms is not contingent on government approval of need. It exists to ensure that citizens retain the capacity for self-defense when seconds count and police are minutes away. Studies, including those by criminologist Gary Kleck, estimate between 500,000 and 3 million defensive gun uses annually, far outnumbering criminal uses. During the 2020 riots and natural disasters, law-abiding citizens with AR-15s protected their neighborhoods when government failed. Disarming them would not make society safer. It would make the law-abiding vulnerable. The at-all-costs standard is not hyperbole. History teaches that governments that disarm their citizens rarely do so for benign reasons. From the Soviet Union to Nazi Germany to Venezuela, confiscation preceded tyranny. The founders understood this. That is why they wrote the amendment as they did. Shall not be infringed. Every common sense restriction magazine limits, assault weapon bans, red flag laws, waiting periods chips away at the right until nothing remains. Once the AR-15 is gone, the precedent is set for banning all semi-automatic rifles, then handguns, then whatever else politicians deem scary. The Constitution is not a menu from which politicians can pick and choose based on polling or tragedy. It is the supreme law of the land. preserving it requires unwavering commitment, even and especially when it is politically inconvenient. Critics claim the Second Amendment is outdated in an age of modern weaponry. They ignore that the First Amendment protects modern communication, the Fourth protects digital privacy, and the Eighth forbids cruel and unusual punishments that the founders could not have imagined. Rights do not expire because technology advances. The AR-15 is simply the current expression of the same principle that justified the Kentucky long rifle in 1776. To argue otherwise is to admit that the right was never truly meant to be absolute. Preserving the Second Amendment and the AR-15 at all costs is not about glorifying violence. It is about preserving the ultimate check on government power and the practical means of self-reliance. It is about recognizing that free men and women do not beg permission to defend their lives, their families, or their liberty. The American experiment has endured for over 2 centuries precisely because the people retained the capacity to say no to tyranny. The day we surrender the AR-15 is the day we begin to surrender America itself. The right must be defended without apology, without compromise, and without hesitation, because the alternative is a nation no longer free.